Today, I wanted to talk about something that again that bothers me a lot, right? And I see us struggling with it every single day. And frankly, it's a tough question to even answer or even discuss. It is, how do we really and truly understand each other better? I think it's very hard to answer that because this is not really dependent on me or even you. It's dependent on all of us, and it's dependent on the person that you're talking with. This specific issue is more of a two-way street. It's not something that we can solve it alone, right? If I'm able to understand you, that can help the situation, but it doesn't necessarily solve it. This needs both parties to come together and have an understanding. But given the times that we live in, I think that is almost impossible. And no, I'm not being negative and I'm not trying to be down, but the reality shows things completely different. People simply don't want to. And I'm not saying that this is bad or good. I just think people don't want to make that effort. And the reason is because nobody wants to feel burdened. No one wants to feel that they're going out of their way or feel uncomfortable. Which is weird, right? Why should you feel uncomfortable if you're trying to understand the other person and come to a sort of, not conclusion, but a compromise together to solve whatever situation? And here I'm being generic, people simply don't want to. Either they're just not willing to meet you halfway, or they don't want to feel that they're being burdened, or they don't want to feel uncomfortable. When you think about it from these perspectives, you wonder to yourself, damn, is that really the reason? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We're not willing to go out of our way anymore to understand the other party because we feel overwhelmed by even the slight feeling of doing things that are not part of our routine, doing things that are straying us out of our typical classical day, or something that is just unconventional and completely new, or even completely just not natural. The world and its burdens today really shaped our minds and how we move with this. So it puts us in this cage and it doesn't allow us to get out of it. But I'm here to say, if you want to achieve a fulfilling life, this is unavoidable. You have to accept that you have to go out of your way sometimes just to understand what the other person is trying to say to you. And this is a mix of things, right? It's a mix of emotional intelligence. It's a mix of just sitting back and analyzing the situation in a rational way. It's a mix as well of putting yourself in the other person's shoe, whether it's the person that is, shouting at you out of frustration, whether it's the person who acted violent with you in a certain way, if it's someone who is voicing out their annoyance about how you treated them. Always try to apply what I've just said, which is try to put yourself in their shoes, try to understand where they're coming from. And this easily can solve and really circumvent many issues that can come up in the future. Honestly, it's a magical thing that you could do by just making the effort of trying to understand each other. Why is it so hard? I don't understand why people are just not putting that effort in and pushing themselves to just understand each other. I don't know. I don't get it. I'm not saying that I sit out there and understand every person that comes up to me, but at least the people that I care about, at least the people that I interact with, whether it's at work, whether it's at home, friends, I try to always understand where they're coming from. And it just makes things a little bit more easier because it makes me understand, it makes me aware of what is the communication, or what is the words they're trying to relate to me. So how do I do it? I don't know how others do it, but I'll tell you how I do it. First of all, pick your battles. I pick mine. Not everything has to be an argument. Not everything has to be riff-raff. No. I just pick my battles. There are some things that I'll stand my ground on, and there are some things I can be a little bit more flexible on. Simple. The second thing is, and by the way, these are not in order. I'm just telling what are the things that I do. I let people speak. Shut your mouth and sit down and listen. Let others fucking talk. Let them talk. Hear them out. hear what they gotta say, how they feel about a situation, see what are their thoughts are, what are they trying to say to you, what are they trying to imply and, kind of work with. Let them talk. Simple. The third thing is, and this connects to letting people talk, is listen and see what are the triggers behind those people. What are the things that are causing them discomfort or perhaps, an issue, right? Learn what are the behavioral trends of who you're trying to understand. Because by knowing their triggers and knowing what are the things that kind of maybe cause them to feel a certain way, you're able to manage it better. You're able to avoid bringing it up, right? If talking about if someone who has phobia from water because they don't know how to swim and they had trauma in their childhood, they were about to drown, I'm not going to talk about the sea. I'm not going to talk about the pool. Pretty straightforward, right? So that's what I mean by observing. That's what I mean by understanding what are the triggers that you need to work with. And I think lastly, and maybe that's the thing that needs to be worked on the most, is meeting people halfway and having the emotional maturity of doing a conversation or having a conversation and getting to a conclusion out of that conversation. Simple, right? If you I apply these things, right? Again, I'm not trying to enforce anything here, and this is just me talking about what I think is the best way to help us understand each other. These are some of the things that I do, and honestly, man, it has worked wonders for me. Just let people talk, just let them vent out, just hear them out. Meet them halfway. Pick your battles. Be emotionally mature and understand how to deal with a situation in the right way. And observe and learn their triggers, right? Because trust me, this trigger part is such a big deal. Because if you just avoid their triggers, a lot of things can be smooth. If we just make an effort in understanding each other, maybe 80 to 90% problems of society and the world disappear. I truly believe that. But obviously, because we're fucking lazy, selfish, and a lot of us are mean-spirited, we don't do these things. And because we don't do these things, they lead to all the problems that we go through. Now, again, this channel is all about, people coming in, letting me know what they think, giving me your opinions. This is by no means what I say is the ultimate rule between right and wrong. This is just how I operate and how I do things. But I would love to know your opinion. Guys, tell me, please. What can we do to understand each other better? What are the things that you guys employ yourselves, to bring us closer to each other? Or maybe you just don't care and be like, it is what it is. I'm not going to make that effort. Fair enough, I'm not going to critique you on that. But hey, if there are more problems in the world, if there are more problems in your family, around your friends, all because of these kind of, silly arguments and communication, all that, don't say I didn't tell you. Thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and please tell me, please, I want to know what you guys think. Let me know. Catch you soon.